identity politics today.
Yes.
And getting their
Yes.
money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America.
So Donald Trump is saying, white people, I'm coming to you with reparations.
Exactly.
All right, now let this be a lesson learned. You know, those of us that are older, have been around for decades, have seen the cycle of the heart of America. We know what kind of country this is, and we know what's underneath the skin of the country. You know, you got that outer layer that looks all pretty, and everybody's all, you know, it's just we're all Christians and all these types of things, and these foreigners come here, whether they're from Africa or from anywhere in the Middle East, they come here, right? Even from Europe. And they just assume that this is a great Christian nation and they love everyone and that this country embraces Christian principles. But we African Americans know that underneath the skin is a whole lot of hate. And we try to let our African brothers that come here know that don't get too comfortable in embracing Republican conservative ideologies, because when it's all said and done, you're going to find out they really don't like people of color. They really don't. And let this be a lesson to you. Those that voted for Donald Trump that are African American have no idea what they just supported and unleashed. Now, he just nominated Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General. Now, some are saying he won't get confirmed, but Trump can try to appoint him in recess later on next year sometime. This can happen, and I'm telling you, this is very dangerous. Listen to this man talk, right?
I've made it a living hell for the swamp rats, and many of them are retiring now. If the Republicans are in the majority and I have subpoena power, I will personally investigate BLM like I'm a Soros-funded prosecutor going after the Trump organization.
We're ashamed of
If the Republicans are in the majority and I have subpoena power, I will personally investigate BLM like I'm a Soros-funded prosecutor going after the Trump organization. If the Republicans are in the majority and I have subpoena power, I will personally investigate BLM like I'm a Soros-funded prosecutor going after the Trump organization.
We're ashamed of
Now, hold on. Let me unpack this for a moment. BLM stands for Black Lives Matter. Now, I think it's important for those of you who are conservative and you support the Republican Party and you have no idea what's underneath the skin because you're so infatuated with the anti-Christian values of the Democrats, and which is a very valid complaint. You know, promoting homosexuality and transsexualism in schools and these types of things, right? I totally agree with condemning the magnification of alternative lifestyles in this country, especially among our children. I agree with that. But that being said, at some point, you have to examine both sides or both candidates and decide if one of them embraces your religious ideologies, right? but they hate you, you would be a fool to vote for them. This man wants to investigate Black Lives Matter. We're talking about, there are teenagers that get caught up in, okay, someone gets beat by a police officer or shot 50 times, and they want to come out to say, hey, that's wrong. We see it all on camera. It's all over YouTube. And they're like, hey, man, we want the police to stop killing unarmed black people. So they come out and these protests. These are innocent young people. It might be teenagers in there, young college students in their early 20s. These people are not Antifa. If you got one or two people that are from an extremely, how can I put this? You might have people that are caught up in a march. Some of them may be from the Nation of Islam, but some of them may be just innocent kids that are looking at something and say, this is not right, and I'm protesting against it with everybody else. That doesn't mean they're part of Antifa. That doesn't mean they're part of the Nation of Islam. It doesn't mean any of that. And what happens is you can get caught up in something and somebody can hurt the rest of you. I was with a couple of guys. They did something. I didn't do it. I got a felony for the rest of my life. I know what it's like for someone to hate black people, and they'll do something to injure your whole life. Does this sound like somebody that likes justice? Or does this look like somebody that just wants to punish black people? Or in the words of Trump, he wants to have, because there has been, affirmative action, he wants the universities that have been using affirmative action to help disadvantaged black students or people of color, or anyone that is disadvantaged, right, to have an opportunity to go to a higher level of education, but they can't afford it. This is something that this country does, and Trump is saying, well, we're going to punish those schools. We're going to sue those schools. We're going to take away federal funding from those schools, and we're going to take that money that we take from their schools, and we're going to give reparations to white children because they were discriminated against because someone was let into school because of affirmative action. These are insane policies, and this is who you voted into office, and this is just the beginning. Nobody's even talking about the Secretary of Defense he just nominated, or Tulsi Gabbard, who's going to be over the Department of National Intelligence. The intelligence agency? You're going to put somebody like that? They have no idea. Okay, look. I just want you to know that the people that are of color that voted for Trump, you really thought that this was a game, and now you're going to find out this is not funny. This is not amusing. The T. Hill types that act like, oh, well, Trump can't hurt nothing. He can't do nothing. One man, one president, he gets it. No, this man can do unimaginable damage to the underlinings of this country or the climate of the nation. He can raise racial tensions to an unbelievable pitch. They're going to go in the military and just start unstriping generals. Just think. Unstriping generals if they don't agree with, or if they believe that we should have some type of equality in the ranks of the U.S. military. In other words, if you see somebody being abused and you snitch them out, well, you weren't supposed to snitch them out. That's considered, diversity training and these types of things, and fairness and equity training. And we want you to just do as you're told. The fact that you snitched out one of your fellow soldiers that abused another soldier or exercised their authority over somebody that they didn't like because of the color of their skin, we want your stripes removed, and we want you to retire from the military. This was said yesterday. These are not games. Hold on.
If the Republicans are in the majority and I have subpoena power, I will personally investigate BLM like I'm a Soros-funded prosecutor going after the Trump organization.
We're ashamed of nothing.
I'm telling you, folks, these are not games. And another thing too, when the midterms come in 2 years, there, every 2 years, 4 years we had a big election, but every 2 years we have another election. Y'all need to come out and vote. Y'all that don't vote, that think your vote doesn't matter and you don't care, you're just sitting on your ass, you're just complaining about everything, but you're just like, well, my vote doesn't matter, it doesn't count. Brothers and sisters, listen to me. It was in my lifetime when I was probably couldn't even talk. I was that young, really 2 years old. In my lifetime, African Americans could not even walk into the front of stores or cafes. I mean, you had white water faucets and black water faucets. You had water fountains for black people and water faucets that say whites only. We are talking about just in a lifetime. The civil rights movement under Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. allowed us to have these liberties towards this assimilation of a portion of liberty and acceptance, right? Don't fuck around and think that things cannot revert back to whence they came. I just heard yesterday where there are politicians right now saying because Trump won, we need to re-examine states' rights regarding interracial marriages. Now, some of y'all might not give a fuck about these subjects, but if you're black married to a white woman, that could be deemed illegal in some states in this administration. Now, for everybody see, everybody thinks everything's funny. Everything is not funny. They're not just trickling down on same-sex marriages. Say, okay, well, we'll just say in these states it's illegal. You know what? I agree. It shouldn't be accepted. But they start there. And then they eventually evolve into what they were talking about yesterday was interracial marriages should be legal per the state. Those issues should be referred back to the states. Y'all better keep your eyes open. That's all I got to say. I'm older. A lot of people just blow off the older people. But we're telling y'all that we have seen things that are rearing their ugly heads today that were forbidden in our lifetimes. They were accepted, then forbidden, and now they're being exercised once again. Blacks are being hanged from trees and bridges within the last 6 months all over the South. Don't believe me, just look it up. Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, just look it up. African Americans are being found hanging from trees, and the local police are saying, oh, it's suicides, right? I'm saying these subjects are not funny. They are not funny. And those are my thoughts for the moment.